Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Mustang Build Project. As we continue to restore the car, we noticed that in the rear right brakes, there's a leak. As you can see, there's a stream where the brake fluid is leaking out of the drum. So today we're going to take it apart and figure out what's going on. Alright, so the brake drum was really rusty, and so it required about 20 minutes of us heating and beating it with our hammer to finally break it loose and get it off. But as you can see, there's oil all inside of the drum here from a leak somewhere in this brake. Alright, so after removing the brake drum on both sides of the car, we noticed that it's not actually the brakes that are leaking, and it's the axle seals. So we're going to have to replace them. Alright, so the first step is to remove the plug and drain the differential. I take off these 4 bolts and take out the axle. Alright, so we removed the 4 nuts, and now we're just going to pull out the axle. Alright, so now with the axle removed, we're going to use the seal puller to remove the gasket. When removing the brake line, it snapped. Because of this, we're going to remove all the brake lines and this leaf spring to make repairs. Alright, so now we're going to remove the axle vent line. Alright, so we have to remove the rear differential to get the springs out, and while it was out, we painted it and cleaned it up. These are the new springs that we got because we couldn't fix the old ones, and they came in a gray color, which we painted black. And these are the 1-inch lowering springs, so it should give us a lower ride on the car. Before we can install the springs, we have to install these new urethane bushings that go right in the ends. We hand push in the bushings and turn the spring on its side so we can hammer them in the rest of the way. Alright, so we got the shackles installed, and we had to use a bolt and a nut to clamp the bushings into the frame rail. And now we're going to install the springs. Now that we got the spring in place, we're going to tighten the bolts. Torque it down to the right spec. A different place, we're going to install this 1-inch lowering kit, and paired with the 1-inch lowering springs, we're going to be 2 inches lower when we're all done. Alright, so here's all the parts that we're going to have to install and the tools to install them. We had to get new shock plates because the old ones were welded to and had cracks in them. So we got new ones and painted them, and we're going to install the lowering kit right now. Alright, so we got the bolts snug. Now we're going to torque them down to the correct spec. So we got these new shocks that we painted blue, and now we're going to install them. Alright, so we're going to compress the shock and stick it in place. We're going to put on the lower hardware and bolt it in place. Alright, so to tighten the shocks at the top, it's inside the trunk in this little tiny hole in the back. Alright, so now we're going to install the axle seal. Alright, so now we're going to go do the same thing on the other side.